Hi, fourth graders. We are beginning lesson 8 in unit 8. We're going to be identifying the sides of quadrilaterals. So remembering the word quadrilateral from third grade, what do you hear when you hear that word quadrilateral? Maybe you hear something that sounds kind of like quarter, or you see those first three letters that exist in the word quarter. So it should make you think about the number 4. Quadrilateral is a shape that has 4 sides, a polygon that has 4 straight sides. So looking at this, we have 4 different types of quadrilaterals here. They all look very different. I can see that this one reminds me of a rectangle, just a basic rectangle, and then the other ones have different things going on. One of the things you're going to want to look at is, do you see shapes that have parallel lines or perpendicular lines? That's one of the things we'll be checking for as we learn about quadrilaterals. So noticing that in all of these quadrilaterals, the sides labeled A, B are adjacent to each other. Adjacent means that they're next to each other. So here I see side A and side B are next to each other. They're touching. These two happen to touch at a right angle. Let's check out the ones in the other shapes. Here's side B, here's side A. Okay, those two connect at an obtuse angle. Here's A and B. Those two connect at an acute angle. And then A and B here, again, an acute angle. So just kind of noticing all the differences in these quadrilaterals will be important as we move forward. We also see that the sides labeled B and C are adjacent to each other as well. Oh, what do you think it means for two sides to be adjacent? Well, your teacher just told you that. It means that they are touching. What other sides are adjacent to each other? See if you can find 2 other sides that are touching each other in all 4 of those quadrilaterals. If you said side A and D, sides A and D are adjacent in all of the shapes. Sides B and C are adjacent in all of the shapes. They were friendly to us and put them in ABC order, so it's pretty simple to find those. Now we're going to learn another vocabulary word. So that was adjacent. Now we're going to be looking at something called opposite each other. So in all of the quadrilaterals, the sides labeled A and C are opposite of each other. So let's check out what that might mean. Here's A and here's C. Oh, okay, so they're across from each other. They're opposite of each other. Let's see if that makes sense in the other ones. Let me move this back up. A and C, yep, they're across from each other. A and C across and A and C across. Noticing that sometimes when they're across from each other, we've got parallel lines where they would continue in the same direction. But other times they're not parallel. For example, on this purple one here, A and C would eventually connect. They would eventually touch. But they're still opposite because they're still on either side of the shape. They're on opposite sides of the shape. Okay, let's turn the page. We have different types of quadrilaterals. This is a page that I might actually take a photo of and put it in your lesson on the day that we do this because it has a lot of really valuable information. You'll notice that across the top it says quadrilateral, 4 sides and 4 angles. Every single shape that we see in this chart, it's going to be a quadrilateral. It's going to have 4 sides and 4 angles. Remember, what it means by angles is the angle that is formed when all of the sides are touching. So you can see the angles there. Okay, but if they're all quadrilaterals, that doesn't mean they're all the same. So let's check out what some of the differences are. Here we have a parallelogram, 4 sides, 2 pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That is a lot of our vocabulary words that we just learned in there. So it has 2 pairs of parallel lines and they're opposite each other. So those 2 lines right there, they're opposite. They're on the either side of the shape. So that's 1 pair. Think about a pair of shoes. There's 2 shoes in 1 pair of shoes. Just like there's 2 lines in 1 pair of lines. Okay, the reason they put parallelogram at the top is because a lot of these, every shape underneath here is also a parallelogram, but it has a more specific name. It has a more picky name. So let's check out rhombus. Are the 2 sides parallel to each other? Yep, there's 1 set of parallel lines, There's another set of parallel lines. But the difference is that a rhombus has to have 4 equal sides. Remember how we learned about equilateral triangles? Well, this, you could kind of call it an equilateral quadrilateral, but there's a name for it, and it's called a rhombus. You're probably thinking, hey, wait, isn't a square also that? We're going to get to that. A square is a little bit more picky. Here we have a rectangle, 4 sides, 2 pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So again, these two go together and these two go together. But a rectangle is picky in a different way. It doesn't have to have all the sides equal length like a rhombus, but all of the angles have to be right angles. That is mathematically what makes a rectangle in geometry. So of course you can recognize a rectangle. You've been recognizing it since you were probably in kindergarten, but knowing what defines it, that's a 4th grade level skill. Now check this one out. Down at the bottom we have a square. Again, 4 sides, obviously. 2 pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Again, I see that, those two and those two. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. 4 right angles, just like a rectangle. But what else? 4 equal sides, just like a rhombus. So you can see that a square is our pickiest quadrilateral. There are so many rules for you to be a square if you're a quadrilateral. Not so many rules for some of the other shapes. Over here, all by itself is our poor trapezoid. The reason that the trapezoid can't be over here is because it's not a parallelogram. It only has 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Check it out. This top line and this bottom line, they're parallel. But this side here and this side here, they are not parallel. They, if you keep tracing them up, up, and up, they eventually intersect, so they are not parallel. That's why a trapezoid is off on its own in our chart. You can feel sorry for it if you want to. It probably would appreciate a little love. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Draw a quadrilateral that has exactly 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. So again, when you do this in your assignment today, it's gonna be kind of picky. You can't draw a shape that has 2 pairs of parallel lines. You have to just have 1 pair. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so these 2 lines, they're parallel. They go on, they never touch, yada yada, they're good to go. But what about this and this? Those 2 are not parallel. If I trace them out, they eventually will meet. So I think I did it. It only has 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. There are a couple other challenge questions on this page that you can do on your own if you want to. Remember that you're going to be completing the full assignment in Math Expressions in Clever today. So that's where you'll show me what you remember from this lesson. And remember, you can always go back and watch this video again as many times as you need in order to get help. This page is the last page of the lesson, and honestly, I'm okay with you not doing it. It's kind of weird the way that it's set up, but just in case you're interested, it's a Venn diagram with different spaces in between. So thinking about, okay, where would the shapes go? I bet you can guess which would be out here, all alone by itself. If you said trapezoid, you would be correct. Those poor trapezoids. Okay, 4th graders, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Remember, you can type them in the private comment section of our Google Classroom assignment for today. See you later.